Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at another box from the Marvel United Multiverse set, and this is X-Men: The Age of Apocalypse. Whew. This is my top 2 of all the storylines ever in the Marvel Universe, where Professor X died, and an alternate timeline came up where he never lived, so Apocalypse became very strong, and Magneto led the X-Men to fight against him. Really, really cool system, and they didn't mess around with letting people get killed. Lots of people died in this series. This expansion adds 4 heroes and 3 villains. Let's take a look at them. All right, let's start with the good guys. First, we have Sabretooth and Wildchild. So they have actually quite a few special cards and not much heroic stuff going on here. It's all about the attacking. Here they can regenerate, they can discard a crisis token if they have one and draw up to a card, which can be really handy. Move in any direction, attack there. So we got the Wildchild. Here you're doing a move and a double attack just for you, but good grief. 3 of those in a deck, hit an adjacent location, 2 of those. So they're pretty basic, but if you just need to fight, they're a great person to have, or great 2 people to have on a team. Then we have Morph, one of my favorite characters in the comic books, period. And so Morph is just all about, hey, look, there's his wilds, but more wilds and more wilds. And almost all his cards have some sort of wild on them. Ignore the first damage you would take. As long as it's face up, draw a card. He starts with that in his hand. There's a move in wild. Here's an untrackable where he can be avoided being hit by the master plan. Nah, not great for his teammates, but good for him. A double attack. If the previous card in the storyline has at most 1 symbol, he gets a wild. So he has 2 of those, or 3 of those actually. Morph is just all about wilds. Not a ton of symbols on his cards, but when they're wilds, your teammates are probably not going to complain. This is the second time we've seen Magneto. This is the Age of Apocalypse version. Comes with his own helmet, which lets him cancel playing a card face down. Magneto's kind of an all-around character. Comes with some basic stuff. You know, if you're looking for a regular character to play, Magneto's not too bad. I mean, he has these leadership cards, which let him distribute 2 wild tokens. You have to discard a card to do it, but please do it. And then a big hit here, 2 in adjacent locations or 3 against the bad guy in your location. But he's pretty much well-rounded, I think. Now, X-Man is a weird character here, because his deck is 16 cards, and you get to pick your starting 3 cards. Hello. Well, maybe not, though. Most of his cards have only 1 thing on them, but they're pretty powerful cards. Move any spot, take any number of heroes with you. A move, get 2 wild tokens. But some have no icons in the battle. So 2 in an adjacent, 3 in an adjacent, 3 in yours. Some good damage he's doing, but your teammates might not be thrilled about it. But then he has cards like Mind Link. He's incredibly powerful. And he has all these just amazing cards, really, ignoring crisis tokens. And they, like I said, the fact that on the bottom, they're not that great, might hold them back a bit, but also 16 cards? Goodness. Now it's time to talk about villains. Now you would think Apocalypse would be the big bad. And don't get me wrong. He's not bad, and he's not good by any means. But Apocalypse has some really interesting things. First of all, he replaces the defeat thugs with this reset timeline. And you might think, well, that's a little odd, so that it's all heroic fighting him. But that's because his cards, his threats, he has Nemesis and the Shadow King and Abyss and Mr. Sinister and Dark Beast and Sugar Man. Oh, we all hate Sugar Man. And Havoc, even, who's a bad guy in this universe. And so there's 7. You're like, wait a minute, there's only 6 spots. Right, you have 6, but there are cards that he has where a surprise henchman, that's the 7th, and you don't know who it is, you pull one out randomly, can come get you. So I think you don't have time to defeat thugs. You're too busy fighting off all these henchmen. So he's good to go up against people who fight. He starts with a weird starting card where everyone discards their starting hand of 3. And you might think, well, why is that so? You know, who cares? I'll tell you why. Mutants hate it because they all have their starting card in their hand, and now they don't. So this hits anybody who has that starting card in their hand. The rest of Apocalypse is, pretty basic stuff. But yeah, he's gonna give you a run for it. Nemesis, or as he was called in the comics, Holocaust, both names, Son of Apocalypse, yada yada yada, only has one henchman, Sabretooth, which happened before the comics, but still, I'm not going to argue that. He can't take more than 3 damage, and he's just going to fight you all. And a lot of his cards delete damage or take 1 off, and he's just loading this card up with crisis tokens before he eventually gets you. He's probably the most basic villain in this set, but no, still not particularly easy. This is the big bad of the set, in my opinion. This is Dark Beast, who is just like the Beast of our universe, except he went bad. Except that the Beast in our universe also went bad. You know what? Not the point. You don't have the 3 different missions. You have just 1 mission here, but you have to do this stuff you have to follow these in order. You can't do one until, you can't do the first crisis till you've done these. So if you defeat a thug, you put it there, and let's say you defeat another thug, you don't have a spot to put it, so it's gone. The problem is, until this is finished, you can't touch him, and hero cards, well, it specifically says mutant hero cards, which I think will lead to a long debate on who's a mutant or not, so just bring in Captain America and fight him, don't have their effects. Once he's done, then he's vulnerable, you can use special effects, and everyone draws a card. So it's all or nothing with him. But to get to that point, then he also has really annoying henchmen around here. Here, if a hero in this or an adjacent location must play their next card randomly, and then Havoc is random, just doing damage to people. And if you're in this location, you ignore an action symbol. In this one, you discard an action token. And this one, you discard a card. And then he's adding people all over the spots. He ignores damage, like I said, with some of his cards. He's a real pain in the neck to fight. And if you think he's a pain, put out his location here. Any henchman entering play in this location has +1 health, although it has a decent thing where you can do damage to henchmen. Here, I like this one. You can take a token, but then you add a thug somewhere else. Problem is, it only starts with 3 at the top. If you have 1 card, draw till you have 3. And here you can add civilians to the board, but if you do that, you discard a card. So, interesting locations. Well, there you have it. That's what's in the box. This is, I wanted to have more in this box, although some of the characters I wanted in this box came in the stretch goals for the set, like Blink and things like that. But I've always liked this setup, and they're definitely made to fight each other. Apocalypse is all about making people discard cards. Enter X-Man, the person who was supposed to go up and fight Apocalypse at the very end. Tailor-built by Mr. Sinister for that purpose. It's interesting. Dark Beast is a bear. I would like to know how people beat him, actually. He's pretty hard. But I like the different characters. Morph, of course, not only is Morph one of my favorite characters in the comic books, I'm really happy with him here, too. So I find him to be a lot of fun. X-Men's unusual and different. So this is a nice little set. I would get it mostly if you like these characters. There's not a lot of special abilities or anything, or if you want to challenge fighting the Beast. But that is an 8.5 for me, because, again, I love the series. That's X-Men: The Age of Apocalypse. I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. And you can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel.